And welcome back to the Coach's Perspective here on Riverside TV as we are entering the final week of the season, week 10, the finale, the granddaddy of them all, the River Valley League. I'll tell you what, we have a great one this week between the Rams of Ramona and the Trojans of Hillcrest, and we're now joined by not one, but both of the head coaches, Ken Mashinsky of Ramona High School and Travis Carter of Hillcrest. Welcome to the show, guys. How you doing today?
Good, brother. Thanks for having us on, Jeff.
Well,
Jeff, as always.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's great having you guys. I don't know if many people know this, but Travis, you played for this guy on this side over here in high school at King High. He was your head coach, and you were the quarterback at King. What's it like playing against your mentor and friend?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's been awesome. Yeah, he was my head freshman coach. And then as I moved up sophomore as a backup quarterback, he became the offensive coordinator. And then he became the head coach my junior year. But yeah, it's been awesome to play against him. And we definitely got our work cut out for us this week. He's got a good program going on over there.
Well, Coach Mush, I want you to tell me this. What's your fondest memory of this guy over on this side when you were coaching him in high school?
Oh, there's a lot. You know, Travis was a super smart football player, and you know, he's much taller than I am now. But back in the day, I think I had him by an inch or two. And I was actually just talking to one of my assistant coaches about how Travis is, I don't know, he's probably 6'1" now. I think he was probably only 5'8" in high school. But I'll tell you, the fondest memory I have is, I want to say that it was 2008, and we were a wild card team, and we had to travel. I believe we traveled to La Quinta, and yep. Travis was the quarterback, very good runner. We had another little scat back named JC Nye and a good wideout in Stevie Will, and a pretty stout defense. But we were a lot of smoke and mirrors, and La Quinta was number one, and we went down there and we had put in kind of a new jet offense that Travis just ran to perfection. I think he threw 2 touchdowns to Stevie, and JC had some, and we upset La Quinta, came back home and had our first home playoff game. Actually, we had to have it at Citrus Hill High School, but I believe against Hesperia, and beat them. And then we played our rival North, and we played that at King, and North got the better of us, but it was a great game and a great experience. And you know, I'll never forget it. You know, Travis was able to run a brand new offense to perfection, and it was great. We made the semifinals for the first time, so it was nice.
Now, I believe that might have been the last time that King was actually in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I think they did make the playoffs under Kevin Court in one year. I don't remember. I want to say maybe 2007. I don't remember the year.
Yeah, I think they went semis that year too.
Yeah, I think they did too.
Okay, well, either way, it's great having you guys, both in the coaching tree, coaching in the same conference. Travis, what are you looking for? Do you look forward to these games, or do they kind of bother you because you're going against, your former coach and your buddy?
No, I mean, I look forward to him. Me and him got a good relationship. I still call him all the time and, kind of get advice from him on certain things. But yeah, I mean, this year we're definitely looking forward to it, but he's got a really good team. I mean, we're out here, ready to stop that offense. He's got, really explosive running back, and I'm trying to simulate his son playing scout team offense. He's Mike Backs on the shoulder coming up this week. But yeah, we're looking forward to it, but we know we got a tough task ahead of us on Friday night.
And on the other side, Coach Mush, how is it for you? I mean, do you get a little more nervous for this? Because this is actually a meaningful game in the River Valley League. I mean, you guys are both respectively second and third, and really this could amount to a lot in playoff scenario for you guys, correct?
Yeah, no, I don't get nervous playing against Travis. He's a peer. He's not in high school anymore, and he's pretty seasoned coach. He's doing a great job. I'll be honest with you. There's a lot at stake. Not only playoffs and bragging rights between us as buddies, but I've never beat Hillcrest and I've never beat Travis. So, there is a little bit at stake. You know, they've always been, a step ahead of us, either offensively or defensively. And this year, I think that both teams are very evenly matched. We both have good offenses, both have good defenses. We both coach in a very similar style, similar manner. I know him and he knows me, and I think it's just going to be a great game Friday night. And there is a lot at stake, and I'm just looking for a great game. And it's just so fun coaching against a former player, and especially a guy like Travis.
Well, that's great. And talking about the playoffs this year, it's set up a little bit differently. You know, they're going to seed, I think, Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning. You guys are going to find out who you will play. But there is an opportunity here, a lot like 2 years ago, Ken, when you guys were in the CIF finals, where we could have 3 teams possibly out of the River Valley League that could go really, really far into the playoffs this season.
Yeah, and Gasol could probably tell us more about it because he's really in the thick of it in terms of all the divisions. But there's just a lot of different scenarios going on with Hillcrest and Patriot and us and Arlington. So there's going to be a lot on the line on Friday night, and I don't know exactly what CIF is going to do, if they're going to hold to the nobody under 500 is going to get an at-large, or what they're going to do. So it really is kind of a crapshoot. We have to kind of wait for CIF. I know that our motto right now, and we've been preaching it since Friday night, is we have to win to get in. So if we win, we're in. Travis is the same thing. He's saying the same thing to his kids. And I know Travis well enough that he's telling his kids what I'm saying, and I'm telling my kids what he's saying. We both have to win to get in, and that's what it comes down to. And it's going to be a fight on Friday night.
And Travis, since you played a great game on Friday night, you played Norte Vista really well in the first half. In fact, other than that one run, I think you guys I think you beat Novi in that first half, other than a couple of little mistakes here and there. Do you see yourselves, you guys are starting to peak right now at the right time?
Yes and no. I mean, we're definitely playing much better defense. That first half of Norte Vista, I thought we played, kids kind of bought in, and they played tough and they fought. And, obviously Eddie and Carvajal were going to get theirs eventually, and they did. And then offensively, we're kind of hit a little bump in the road a little bit, trying to hopefully we can get back, to where we were early on in the season. But yeah, like Coach said, I mean, I don't know if anyone's really peaking at this time. I know they got some injuries and things like that, but it's kind of a point in the year where that doesn't matter. It's, we got to win if we want to keep playing. And that's what we've been telling these guys. If you want more games for these seniors, we got to come out and fight against a good team on Friday night.
All right. And Coach Mush, before we go, Travis here's talked about a little bit about your team, your running back, your son, who's a great quarterback. Tell us what you think of Hillcrest. Now, what are you going to have to do to stop that pretty darn good defense with Hillcrest?
Well, I'll tell you, it all starts up front, with 72. He's just such a big kid, and he has such a high motor. But I think something that's overlooked is the aggressiveness of their front seven, and especially their linebackers. We all talk about Norte Vista and how fast they are, and their defense is unbelievably fast. But just watching film, and I've seen Hillcrest live a few times, their linebackers fly to the ball. And we always talk about a swarming defense. Travis does a great job over there at that. They really team tackle. We have to stop. They have 2 running backs, 45-25. Both of them have quicks and are very similar. And their quarterback makes great decisions, not only on zone read, but anytime they run RPOs, and they have receivers that can catch. So, again, I think it's very similar football. It's been fun. Yesterday was a tough practice because it was raining. But I'm actually looking forward right now to going out to practice because I get to practice against an offense that's similar to ours. One thing I always look forward to when I play Travis is he always comes out in a lot of unique stuff, whether it be swinging gate or A11 or has some trickery. And we know that. I just need to guess which one you're going to do.
Well, guys, I really appreciate it, and I'm gonna say this, pull the curtain back a little bit. You know, I talked to both of you guys. I'm friends with both of you, and I wanted to bring you on together because I know you guys have a mutual respect and a friendship, and I think that's the most important thing that we see here, especially in Riverside, is the camaraderie of coaches. And I appreciate, and I think the entire city appreciates what both of you guys do for these young men. And I wanted to applaud you as we finish our season here on Riverside TV, and good luck to both of you on Friday night. We're going to be covering it, and you guys are both wonderful human beings.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Travis, I'll see you guys Friday night. Have a good rest of the week and stay healthy, man.
All right, hey, you too, Coach. And Jeff, thanks as always, man. Appreciate you covering high school sports out here. You guys do a great job.
Well, thank you very much. That are the coaches of your Ramona Rams and the Hillcrest Trojans. We're going to be right back with our friend Ghazal Hassan to talk about the season here on Riverside TV. We'll be right back. And welcome back to the Coach's Perspective here on Riverside TV. I'm Jeff Gorham, and we are now joined by my partner in the booth, my partner in crime, my brother, my friend. He's Ghazal Hassan. How you doing, Ghazal?
You know, Jeff, I do a lot of games, but never have as much fun as when I'm working with the big Jeezy, Jeff Gorham. It's always a pleasure to work with you on football in the city of Riverside. The governor, he'll always be remembered, but he will never be recalled. He's the governor of Riverside. That is Jeff Gorham.
Well, Ghazal, we're at week 10. Can you believe it's been 10 weeks? We've covered 20-plus games for Riverside. We've had a great season. I think one of the better seasons of note we've had in the city of Riverside. We have an opportunity here for 5 or 6 teams to move pretty far into the playoffs as we hit CIF running next week. What do you think about that?
I mean, as happy as I am that basketball is here, because, you know, you and I are really hoops guys, let's be honest. I'm kind of sad that we're gonna have to let go of the football season, because, as you said, it's been, after what happened last year, it's been great. And, you know, I think the coaches and the students all learn to appreciate, the players learn to appreciate. I think you and I learned to appreciate it. You know, not having been able to do games last year, we did learn to appreciate it. So before we start, shameless plug, I did put out the projections. You can check Twitter. It's on the Substack, Broadcaster's Tale, or on my website. And it's super exciting. Now, I learned something today that's going to affect all the rankings, is that, so in the Gold Coast League, which is not anywhere near Riverside, but so they automatically give 2 teams the AQ, and then you're basically fighting for one spot. So I bring it up because, in essence, the automatic qualifier is on the line in this game that we're doing on Friday between Ramona and Hillcrest. Now, if Ramona loses, they're probably still in. But if Hillcrest loses, remember, they already lost to Arlington. Arlington beat La Sierra. So if Hillcrest and Arlington both end up with 2 league wins, it's Arlington that gets the AQ because they've beat Hillcrest. So this game, I mean, I know both the coaches are smiling and, you know, they're being friendly. This really, I mean, it means a lot to Ramona. Don't get me wrong. They want to finish in second place. But this is really meaningful to Hillcrest to go get this one, because if they get this one, they can relax. They know they're in, and move on to and prepare for the opponent in the next week. Whereas if they don't win, then it's sitting there, hey, are we in or are we out? And like Coach Mush was saying, a lot's going to depend on what the CIF does. Now, I got this big missive. You know, there's a CIF playoff bulletin. You can type it into a search engine and it'll come up and you can read it. And this, they put it in writing, Jeff. You know what happens when they put things in writing? We're not going to let under 500 teams get at-large bids. And I've been talking to a lot of coaches. You and I talked to Backdorf. He's on the playoff committee. And he said, well, yes and no. So your guess is as good as mine is basically what I'm saying. But to answer your question, I am super excited about this game Friday. It's, you know, quasi-rivalry game. Like, you just have the interview, the coach and the player. You know, it's like, you know, Ewan McGregor and what's his name?
Liam Neeson.
Hayden Christensen.
Yeah.
Mush could, you know, Mush could be like a young Mush. You could have Ewan McGregor play him, and an old Mush, you could have Alec Guinness play him. So it works. It works there. You know, we just want to make sure Travis Carter doesn't go to the dark side, the young Padawan.
Well, I'll tell you what, talking about this Hillcrest team, I think we saw a Hillcrest team play Norte Vista better than anybody this season. And that includes, the Redlands, the Claremonts. I thought Hillcrest came out, and I think they won that first half, other than that big run for the 7 in the first half.
Yeah, I wanted you to ask Coach Carter about it. So, yeah, I mean, listen, they have a new defensive coordinator, Ahmad Noor. We talked about him a lot. He's come over from Rancho Verde. And he and Coach Carter like frickin' frack, right? They're like, Matt LaFleur and what's his name, Robert Saleh when they were together. They just they complement each other. They have very similar football philosophies, and they played very well against Norte Vista in the first half. They came down to they're inside the 10. Hillcrest went for it on 4th and 1 and couldn't get it. And the next play, Eddie Elaine, all aboard the Elaine train, Jeff, 91 yards for the touchdown, and that kind of flipped the game. But they played them more or less to a stalemate in the first half. But here's the other thing. I actually thought the defense played well in the second half as well, but there were the 2 big turnovers by Ramona, which Novi turned into by Hillcrest, which Novi was able to turn into touchdowns. And then, the last one was kind of, the game was already really decided. And unfortunately, and I know Coach Carter's not going to make excuses, but didn't have their starting running back, Jalen Bailey. It was not a wonderful life for Mr. Bailey this week. And they were missing, their 2 top wide receivers. Brian Zabados was out, and Daniel DeAnda, who's also their kicker and punter, was out. Now, I think Novi still wins if all 3 of those guys play, but the offense probably could do a little bit more for Hillcrest if they had 1 or 2 of those guys in the fold along with Caleb Dominguez at quarterback.
I agree. I thought it was a great game. I thought it was a great cap to what we're going to have as the season finale with playoff implications and so forth. A great game we're going to have Friday night. Before I let you go, can we talk a little bit about those playoff pairings? Where do you see some of the teams like okay. North and Norte Vista? Where do you see those guys falling according to your rankings?
Right. Off the top of my head, you can go to the Broadcaster's Tale on Substack, and you can see all these rankings. And so I think North. I got it right here. Let me just check it. I think I have North in Division 4. No, North in Division 5, along with our good friend Jeff Steinberg at Beaumont. I have Beaumont as the number 1 seed in Division 5. I have your good buddy Ken Backdorf in Division 6. Ramona is in Division 8 as far as Riverside teams go. And then we got Poly in Division 12. And how about Arlington? Arlington, because right now, as we stand, they're the automatic qualifier in 3rd place out of the River Valley. They would be the last team in at Division 13 at this point. But a lot's going to, you have league title games in the last week, a number of them, a couple of them even in the Inland Empire. Hillcrest, obviously Ramona still got to play, so the winner and loser of that. Now, that's the funny thing is, if Hillcrest wins that, they get in. And Ramona, who I think are right now having Division 9 or Division 8, could drop down to Division 9 and 10, which might be a better opportunity for them to make a run. So it's funny, Kevin, we were talking with Ken Backdorf before the game, and he's like, by the Ramona game, and he said, listen, they're pretty good. We're pretty good. I'm not worried because no matter who wins, the other guy doesn't lose because the other guy may stand to get a better, playoff seeding. And I don't know if you saw this morning, there was a Cal Preps actually issued a statement that there were coaches who were actually calling Cal Preps and asking for their ratings to be lowered so they could drop down in the next division, And let me tell you something, especially in the top 5 divisions, Jeff, it is really close, Like the one I worry about our buddy Tommy Leach at Roosevelt because he's right there on the cusp, right? Would he rather be on the bottom of Division 3 or would he rather be a top 4 seed in Division 4, right? So those are the questions. I mean, and no coach is going to say, oh, no, we want to play in the lower, different division. They're going to say, we'll play whoever we play. But, in the back of their minds, they're thinking, do I want to go to Modern Day and get spanked in the first round or would I rather slide down a division and maybe have a chance? So it's really intriguing. And the question, and Coach Mush brought it up, is the CIF going to let teams in with a below 500 record? And for at large, right? AQ is obviously predetermined. And the history of the CIF, and I'm not trying to indict anybody, has been those big leagues, and we all know who they are. The big leagues tend to get the benefit of the doubt, So obviously in my projection, I only have 3 teams in from the Big 8. I have a feeling we may see 4 or 5 Big 8 teams when it really comes, when it comes out. So, I tried to be as true to what is on printed paper as can be, but obviously there'll be differences. But as far as the Riverside teams, I think you'll see I got it pretty nailed. I got it pretty well nailed.
Well, Gasol, we have one more game this week on Friday night. Then it's playoffs. Hopefully we get to call a few together once we get going here. But it's been a pleasure as always. We've called so many games over the years. You're a dear friend and my broadcasting mentor. Thank you again for another great season.
Last thing, I did want to say one thing. So, yes, Kevin Corridon led King to the Division 5 CIF semis in 2016. But the last coach, and we talked about this in the broadcast, I think, this year, the last coach to lead King to back-to-back CIF playoff appearances, the Mushman, Ken Mushinski, 06, 07. That 07 team they were talking about with Travis Carter, his senior year, that year they lost to North, and North won it all that year.
That's right. That's right. So our guy Mush doing great things everywhere he goes into the city of Riverside, just like you, Gasol. You're a gem to the city of Riverside and a dear friend. We'll see you Friday night, 7 p.m. on Riverside TV as we tune off for the last time this season till playoffs. On the Coach's Perspective, I'm Jeff Gorham. He's Gasol Hassan, and we'll see you later on down the road here on Riverside TV.